it depends. It all has to do with your choice of words. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, from what I said earlier, make or buy decision is simply choosing from alternative in the sense that either you check the cost of whether buying from an external supplier or whether making it yourself, for example, whether making the product yourself or whether buying it from an external supplier. So what you have to try and do is that you have to calculate the amount that it will cost you to produce that product and then compare it to the amount that it will cost you to buy the product from an external seller. So when you compare it, you make your decision based on which cost is higher. So if it's cheaper for you to produce it yourself, you produce it yourself. But then if it's cheaper for you to buy it from an external supplier, then you buy it from an external supplier. That's what I can remember.
Okay, excellent. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Even though you just need to just add a little bit of disclaimer, the cost that you're going to use to determine whether to make internally or to buy from an outside supplier will have to be the relevant cost only, not the total cost, including overheads. Okay, but that's perfect. Okay, so anyone else?
So can I
Yeah,
comment?
yeah, coming.
Can I comment?
Yeah, coming.
Yeah, from my own perspective, in a nutshell, it is just the action of choosing between whether manufacturing a product or buying from an outside supplier, that is outsourcing.
Okay, good. Yeah, so that's it. I think that's it. You got it. Okay, so make or buy decision. These are decisions that management takes. For example, if a customer places an order, okay, if for example you are in the business of how to call it, making tables, okay, study tables, okay, and a customer places an order, okay, to buy tables from you. So the management has to decide: do we go ahead and produce this table, or should we buy a table from an outside supplier and supply our customer? Okay, this is about make or buy decision. Do we make it ourselves internally, or do we buy it from an outside subcontractor? Okay, this is very, very important. In practice, it's very, very common. There are some orders that customers will be requesting. It may not be wise, it may not be prudent, it may not make any financial sense to produce them in-house. It will be more cost effective if you subcontract them outside, okay? You pay somebody, okay, to produce it for you, and then you deliver to the customer. But there are a lot of things that you need to consider. It's really, really, really important. Okay? This is very common now. That's why when you go to most organizations, they don't recruit their own security officers. Okay, it's a make or buy decision. Still same make or buy decision. Do we recruit our own security officer, or do we get it from security companies? And when you look at it, in the area of decision, in the area of security service, it's usually cheaper to buy from an outsider. It's usually cheaper to subcontract it from an outsider, isn't it? Because if you have to set up your own security unit, there are a lot of costs that you need to incur. Okay, that's one aspect. The other aspect is, even in the West, well, it's not common in the Gambia. In the West, it's very, very common. Outsourcing is the same as outsourcing. Outsourcing IT services and outsourcing accountancy services. Some business organizations, they do a make or buy decision. Okay, they outsource their finance department, okay, from accountancy companies, rather than recruiting their own financial department staff. IT the same. So that if they have any issues with IT, their contractors will be there to help them. It's a make or buy decision. Okay? So It's really, really important. It does not mean it has to do with only products, physical products. No, it applies to even service industry. Okay? So it's a decision to make a component or a product or a service in-house, or to buy from an outside supplier, or to contract from an outside contractor, just like the situation I've explained to you. Okay? So the underlying assumption of this decision is that all fixed costs of manufacture or service are general to the organization. As such, only marginal costs are making the component, marginal cost of making the component is relevant. Okay, so what it's trying to say is, when you are taking such decision, you don't look at any fixed cost, but only the marginal revenue and the marginal cost that you consider in order to take this decision. So the decision criteria is compare marginal cost of making to the purchase price. Okay? You either buy if the marginal cost of buying is lower than marginal cost of making. And you can make if the marginal cost of making is cheaper than the marginal cost of buying. Okay? So this is the decision rule. Is that clear before we do an example? Any questions, any comment? It's a very, very easy concept, very easy. Are we together?
Yes, we are, Mr.
Is it understood? Is it clear?
Yes, it is to my side.
Anybody? Any comments?
No, it's very clear, sir. It's very clear.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so since there are no issues, no comments, I think we can go ahead and answer the question. Yeah, these are usually very, very simple. Very, very, very simple. Okay. Can you see my spreadsheet file?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Mr. Foba,
Yes.
I think before we start this sample, how to call it example one, why not we cut it and you start another video? I think it's almost time.
Okay. Actually, I did one a couple of minutes ago. Maybe you are not aware.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when we are starting. Don't worry. Once we finish this topic, then I'll do another one.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
Thank you.
fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes at convenience. Yeah. Okay. So what you are seeing is only the question at the moment. Yeah.
Yes, example one.
Yes.
Okay, example one is what you're saying. Okay, so please note, I have shared this notes yesterday. So refer to it, because we cannot project two screens at the same time. We cannot project two screens at the same time. So make sure you refer to the question so we can answer it. So I'm going to go to the spreadsheet, then we'll be able to answer it. Okay, so it says that Clemens Limited produces a number of components, two of which it is considering buying in, components X and components Y. Okay, the cost of making component X are as follows: variable cost, 14 for X and 28 for Y, fixed cost 4 for each of them, and then you have a total cost of 18 and 32 respectively. Then we have a purchase price from an outside supplier of 17 and 25. So required, should Clemens Limited make or buy in? So we have to indicate for each of these two products Do we make them or do we buy them? First, before we attempt, in order to take this decision, what are the things that we need to consider?
Mr. Fofana, I think we need to consider the relevant cost in this section.
Okay, the relevant costs. Okay, so we're going to look at the relevant costs. And what are the relevant costs here?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Fofana. Can we say carriage involved cost?
Carriage inward. There's no carriage inward here.
Like if you want to buy outside, I mean.
If you want to buy outside?
Yeah, I mean, making the decision to buy outside, I think one have to spend on the transportation to bring the goods in.
Yes, yes, that is true. You have to consider that. That will be a direct cost. But in this question, they have not mentioned anything about transportation. We are trying to make our decision based on the data on the question. Okay, so I'm just trying to say, I'm just asking in this particular question, what are the factors that we need to consider before we can say make product X or buy product X, make product Y or buy product Y. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mr. Fofana.
Yes, yes.
What we should consider here most is the fixed cost here, because I don't think
we should consider the fixed cost.
Yeah, it's not relevant there.
Okay, we should not consider the fixed cost, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
We need to look at the variable cost and then with the compare it with the amount that we buy the goods.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. Okay, so let's go through it. So in other words, in order to take the decision, in order to say make this product or buy this product, we have to consider the marginal cost of buying compared to the marginal cost of making. Okay, marginal cost of buying compared to the marginal cost of making. Okay, is that clear? So what's the marginal cost of making first? What's the marginal cost of making? What's the marginal cost of making, according to the question?
For product X,
We have
is 14
for X.
and for product Y is
Product Y is
28.
28. Okay, so that means in this question, the marginal cost of making is only the variable cost. Do we consider the fixed cost?
No, it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. Why is fixed cost irrelevant? Yes. Why is fixed cost irrelevant?
Despite that you either buy or you either make it, you will still spend that fixed cost.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Just give me 1 minute. Let me take this. Hello? Yeah, so why fixed cost not relevant in decision making?
Because it is an overhead, and overheads are not to be considered.
Why? Fixed cost is the same as overhead. I'm asking why. Why are they not relevant?
Mr. Fofana,
I
think fixed cost is being general in nature. So
Fixed
it is
cost-
not
fixed
relevant
cost is
with
general.
regards to like, it's general in nature, exactly.
Okay.
And looking at the two components, maybe like buying or selling, making.
Okay. What do you mean by it's general?
Bring in the factor of the fixed, like bringing a fixed cost into consideration. It's not relevant to the extent it is general, whether the product is one, because if at all the products are going to be like maybe up to 50. So it is all rated like one fixed cost. it cannot be attached to each and every product as there is a fixed cost of this particular product and this and this and this and that. So the entire fixed cost is being rated as one.
Okay, well, fixed cost is...
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Pamodu can hear. Pamodu.
Okay, the fixed cost is irrelevant because it does not vary. It does not vary. It will be incurred irrespective of whether the product is buy or manufactured. Yeah,
so it does not vary
irrespective of whether the product is buy or manufactured.
Okay, there you go. I think that's the key. Fixed costs will be incurred whether you produce this number or you produce zero or you produce whatever. So therefore, it is irrelevant. Okay, it's general. It's everybody's business. So what belongs to everybody belongs to nobody. That's the concept in Africa, isn't it? So you don't consider fixed costs in taking decision. For example, in this case, we are talking about product X and product Y. Okay, whether we make them or whether we buy them. Fixed costs, let's just put it in the fixed costs may relate to, for example, rent. Rent, once you sign a contract, for 5 years. Whether you make 0 product or you make 1 million product, the landlord, he doesn't care. What he cares is he has signed a contract with you, and you must pay the person at the end of every year, whether you produce or you don't produce. So it does not vary with production. It does not vary with sales. It must be paid whether you make profit or not, or whether you make losses or whatever, you have to pay. So fixed costs will always remain fixed. It will vary with activity level, and as such, is not considered in decision making. Okay, so let's move on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do our working. It's a very, very simple one. So first component, we say we are going to consider the variable cost of making. And what about the other aspect? We're going to compare that to what?
To the purchase price.
To the purchase price. So we're going to compare the variable cost of making to the variable cost of buying. The variable cost of buying in this situation is only the purchase price. But you could have more than the purchase price in some situations. For example, somebody was talking about transportation. If you buy products, you need to transport it. So if the number of items that you need to transport varies if the transport fees that you need to pay, depends on the number of items, naturally that will be added to the purchase cost. Okay, so let's open a new sheet. Just to refresh, we're going to click Add Sheet. We're going to click Add Sheet. Okay, and Sheet 2 will be added for us. Okay, then I double click on it to rename it. So I'm going to call it EG1. Okay, I'm going to call it EG1. And the name of the company is what? Clements Limited. CLEMENCELTD. Clements Limited. Okay, so that's the name of the sheet. Okay, we've done these things before. So I'm going to color it red. Okay, so that it stands out. Can you see? It's colored red. Then I'm going to start from B2, like I keep doing. I always leave one column and one row as my margin on the side and at the top. Okay, so just like we said, we need to compare the variable cost of making to variable cost of buying. Okay, so we could say we can copy this heading. Okay, we don't have to type the heading again. We can copy it. So once you double click, you can right click on it and say copy. Then you come here, then you paste. Okay, it's already pasted. So that will be the heading. Okay, the name of the organization. So the heading or the name of the statement will be what? Make or buy decision statement. Okay, or you can say report or make or buy decision. Okay? So what we're doing as accountants is we're preparing a report for management to take a make or buy decision. So that will be the heading. Okay. So the columns, the first column, we're going to leave it for our details. So the next column will be our product X. Product X. And the next one will be product Y. Okay. So like I always recommend, if you're having your laptop, you can start practicing as you go along. For those who don't have laptop or who may not be able to do it as we do it online, you can take pen and paper and write it as we go along so that your understanding could be consolidated. Okay? Are we together? So I'm going to expand this a bit. Then these two columns, I'm going to align them to the right. Okay, I'm going to align them to the right. Then I'll leave one space here. Then I come down here. So what is the first factor that we need to consider? What's the first factor that we need to consider for our comparison? Are we together? Hello?
Yes, the first factor should be the selling price.
Selling price? Plus, you agree with that? Selling price? Do we have any selling price here?
Yeah,
No,
the
I
selling
think it
price.
should be.
There's no selling price here?
Yeah, let's
I
just put
think-
the variable cost there.
Okay, so the first factor that we need to consider is the variable cost of making. Variable cost of making. Variable cost of making. Okay. And what's the variable cost of making for X?
It's 14.
14. Why? Let's do it quickly because time is not on our side.
28. 28.
Excellent. And the next that we need to consider will be what? The purchase price. The purchase price. Okay. So that will be the purchase price. And what's the purchase price?
17
17 and
25.
25. Now, we all know the difference between these two. In product X, it's going to cost us 14 to make and 17 to buy. So which one is cheaper?
Making product A is cheaper.
Okay, making product X. Making product X is cheaper than buying because it's going to cost you only 14 pounds to make, whilst it's going to cost you 17 to buy. Okay, so when we are doing it, we can just, this is a little calculation, so we can just say for product X, we make. Okay, we can say we make. Okay, what about for product Y? It's going to cost you 28 pounds to make and 25 pounds to buy. Which one is cheaper?
Yeah, the purchase price is cheaper than the price to make it.
Okay, so what do?
So we purchase,
buy or we make?
We buy.
We buy.
We buy.
Okay. Excellent. But this is fine, but in practice, it's going to be more complex than this. And in practice, this 14 or 28 may not remain steady. There may be some errors realized along the way, and then they may change. So what we want is, since we are dealing with spreadsheets, we want to put a formula, okay? We want to put a formula under each of them so that no matter how the situation may change, the decision will change with it. What formula can we put here? So we're going to take these ones out. So I'm going to say decision rule. What we have done is not wrong, it's correct, but in practice, you will not get something as simple as this, okay? And of course, when you have to do it in practice, you are not going to take pen and paper and jot it down and push it to your manager. Your manager is going to fire you. And I am sure, as an accountant who has gone through MA3 with Mr. Fofana, you are not going to use Microsoft Word to type this thing and use a calculator and push it. Are you going to do that? If you do that, I will not forgive you. Are you going to do that?
That will be a sin, Mr. Hall.
No.
It will be an unforgivable sin, definitely. Okay? So please, don't make me ashamed. Okay? If I meet you at work, executive director, chief finance officer, I will be very, very, very proud. So please make me proud. Okay? So make use of this and know them to your fingertips. They are going to add value to your life. They're going to add value to your professional life. Okay? Please, please, please. They are so important. So who can help me to put just one single formula in each of the cells that will tell us either to make or to buy, and even if the numbers change, the make or buy decision rule will be returned accordingly. What formula should we put under, for example, C11 now? Yes?
Can we use the if formula, if?
Yes, we can use the if formula. The conditional formula, perfect. We can use the conditional formula. Now, tell us how we can use the conditional formula. What conditional formula should we put here? Please, I am putting new skills that we have not done before, new function, new spreadsheet function, which is very, very, very important, conditional formula. As simple as it is, can you allow me to laugh? As simple as it is, a lot of people, a lot of accountants don't know that it exists. Okay? As simple as...
Yes, can we try?
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
I don't know if I can remember it very well. It's equal to?
Equal to. Equals.
IF.
IF. Mm-hmm.
Bracket open.
Bracket opens.
C6, is it 6 or 7? I cannot see it clearly. The 14, where the 14 is?
C8.
The 14. Huh?
Yes, C8, yes.
C8.
Mm-hmm.
Greater than or equal to?
Greater than or equal to?
Comma.
Comma.
Hello?
Quick. Let's do it quick. Time is not on our side.
Make buy.
Buy, B-U-Y.
Comma.
Comma.
C9.
C9.
Less than or equal to?
Less than or equals to?
Make.
I type make, huh?
Yes, wait, let me analyze it.
I like that.
I think there should be quotation, some quotation marks inside. I cannot see it clearly. I'm using my phone, so the phone is small.
Okay, but just tell me where the quotation marks are supposed to be.
The make and buy, you put them in quotation marks, I think.
Okay, week one, there are 2 quotation marks.
Yeah, you put buy in quotation marks and you put make in quotation marks.
With quotation mark. There are 2 types of quotation marks.
The single one, I think, yeah.
Single one?
Yes.
Okay, single one. I do that quickly. Yes, single one.
And then after the buy, you close the bracket.
I close the bracket, then I enter.
After buy, you close the bracket before you move on to the next one.
Okay, after buy, I close the bracket.
And then open another bracket before C8. I don't know, C8 or C.
Before C8, okay. Yes.
And then after make, you close the bracket again.
The bracket is closed. Let me put another bracket.
You close it after writing make.
Yes, the bracket is closed. Then I enter. Eh?
No, you close it again because another bracket is open inside.
Okay, I close it, yeah?
Yeah, just enter and see. I'm not hopeful, but...
Okay, say there was a problem. Okay, quickly.
Yeah,
I think that's all you tried. You have the idea, but maybe because you have not done it long time, it's
yeah.
But that was good. That was really good. It was a good attempt. At least you have the something, the knowledge. Anyone else quickly before we move? That was a good trial, Danso. That was a good trial.
So, can I try?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we have the equals to sign.
Equals, yes.
We have if. Open bracket.
Open brackets.
C8.
C8, yes.
Less than C9.
Less than C9
equals to make.
Equals to make.
In quotation.
Make in quotation. Which one? Single or double?
Double quotation.
Double quotation. Okay.
Comma. Open bracket.
Open brackets.
Yes. C8.
C8.
Greater than.
C9.
C9 is equals to buy.
Equals to buy. In comma. B-U-Y. In quotation, I'll close the bracket. Is that all?
Yeah. Two brackets,
yes. It says false. It's okay. It's not easy. To be honest, spreadsheet is not easy for a lot of people. Okay, just for the sake of time, let's just go through it. When the child does not know how to speak, it says things that are more difficult than what it's supposed to say. You are taking a very long route, which is not necessary. It's a very, very simple if formula. And for your information, there are so many if formulas. You have the normal if formula, you have the ifs function, you have the nested if functions, you have the sum if, name them, so many of them. Okay, but the easiest among them is the basic if formula, the one that we're going to do. Okay, so I mean, at least the two of you did well. You tried. You have some knowledge, but maybe you might not have been practicing for a long time, and it has evaporated. Okay, so just like the last two have said, we first start with equals. When you press equals, it means the beginning of the formula. Okay, so you say equals if. Once you type if, it's going to tell you, it's going to give you all the formulas that starts with if, ifs, if any, if error, and so forth. So, but what we want is the basic if. So we open the bracket. They were right in doing that. Okay. So if you open the bracket, then you say if x, if variable cost of making x, which is C8, is greater than the buying cost of x, which is C9. Mr. Jete, you are right in that. Okay? So this is the first part of the formula. The if formula, the basic if formula is divided into 3 parts. Okay? After the equals if, the first part is the condition itself. Okay? You know, even in normal life, if you want to talk, you say if. Okay? If you say if, people will open their mouth. They'll be expecting that you say something. Okay? And after saying if, there are 2 possibilities that you need to say. Okay? You say if I go to university. I'm just giving you one example. If I go to university, then now people will listen. He said if, okay, we were listening, and now he said if he goes to university. Now he is putting a scenario. And the same thing with the if formula, the first part, which we have just done now, is the scenario or is the condition. If I go to university. Now people are going to listen again because there are 2 things that are missing. If you go to university, what's going to happen? That will be the other part. And then if you don't go to university, what's going to happen? Is this not the case? In normal language, you know, all these functions are designed from our normal languages. So I say if C8, okay, C8 is the variable cost of making is greater than, okay, C9. C9 is the purchase price or the purchase cost of is the purchase cost, isn't it? If C8 is greater than C9, now that's the first part. The first part will be separated with the other parts with a comma. So Mr. Gator, this is where you went wrong, then you say comma. Okay? So once you say comma, now it's waiting for what happens if this condition is true. So if C8 is greater than C9, that is if make price is higher than buy price, what should happen? If the make price is higher. If it is higher, we buy.
We should buy, yeah.
Yes, we should buy.
Okay, so if this is true, whatever we're going to write will be the next step. And just like Buba rightly said, you insert those conditions in double inverted commas because spreadsheet does not return a text unless and until it is in double inverted comma, not single inverted comma, double inverted comma. So you use your double inverted comma, okay? So double inverted comma and you type by, B-U-Y, okay? And you close with a double inverted. So it's double inverted comma open and double inverted comma close. So if C8 is greater than C9, that's the condition. What to do if the condition is true? you buy. Okay? And the next and the final step is what to do if the condition is false. So what to do if C8 is not, what to do if C8 is not greater than C9? What do we do? So that one also, we do a comma to separate it. Okay? Once we do a comma, the last part should be what? If the condition is true, we buy. If the condition is false, what do we do? If C8 is greater than C9, we buy. If C8 is not greater than C9, what do we do?
We make.
We make. So that one also, you need to quote it in double inverted comma. M-A-K-E and double inverted comma. Close. So after closing the double inverted comma, the rule is, just like in BODMAS, take note, just like in BODMAS, if you open a bracket in any Excel function, you must close the bracket. If you open one bracket, you must close one bracket. If you open 3 brackets, you must close 3 brackets. Okay? So we've opened one bracket and we must close it with one bracket. Once we have done that, we just enter. Once we enter, look at it, make has been returned for us. So let's replicate this to another form, to another area. Look at it. That one is buy. Look at this. How simple this is. Can you see?
Sorry, Mr. Fufuna, can you please come again?
I should come again.
After clicking the enter for this, the first column.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll start all over again so that you can understand very well. Oh, so right. We start with an equals. We agree, yeah? We say if. If is the function. So equals is always any formula you do in Excel, in Google Sheet, or in any spreadsheet package, it must start with an equals. That's the language it understands. You cannot do anything. And the if is the name of the function. Okay? If is the name of the function. So we say equals if, bracket opens. Okay? Now, we say the if function is divided into 3 parts. And those 3 parts are separated with a comma. The first part is the condition that we are testing. If what? If I go to university. That's the condition. What happens if you go to university? I will graduate with my degree and get a good job. But the other side of it, if I don't go to university, I may end up being a farmer. So that's the other side of your if statement. The same thing here. If C8 is greater than C9, if the make cost is greater than the purchase cost, what do? I return buy. That's the purchase price, because you are required to buy at that juncture. So if that is not the case, then that means you make the same thing. If I go to university, I will graduate with a degree and get a good job. But if I don't go to university, I may end up being a farmer. So that's the last part. Okay? If the condition is true and if the condition is false. The same thing. So we say equals if I click on C8, then I use the greater than sign. There's a greater than sign on your keyboard. So you press that greater than sign. We all know these signs, isn't it? So the greater than sign, C9, you click on C9, then you have a comma. Okay, and then you say we buy, has to be in double inverted comma, open and close, B-U-Y. Okay. Then we have comma again. Then what happens if the condition is not true? If it is false, we make. So double inverted comma, open again. Then we type make. We close it. And then we have to close our bracket once and enter. Okay? Then now we have done one. Even if we are 1 million, what we do is we just copy and paste. Is it clear now?
Yes, Mr. Fofana.
It's clear.
Mr. Fofana, let me do it because I'm trying to do it in my computer, but then I'm having the opposite. So let me try again and see.
You're having the opposite. Okay. Okay. Is it understood, everybody?
Yes, Mr. Fu.
That's the formula. I'm highlighting it so you can see the formula. Can you see the formula? This is the simplest if function that you can get. It's the simplest conditional function that you can get.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very useful. You can use it in your double entry. Okay? Like, for example, if you have a ledger that has got a debit and a credit. Okay? So you want to return the balance at any point in time if there is a debit entry and if there is a credit entry. See, you people need a lot of time. We can do a lot of things with you, you know. And you know, it's very useful. You can prepare a ledger that will automatically update itself. For example, if it's a cash ledger, which is a receivables ledger, you know, in a receivables ledger, if there is a debit transaction, it increases the balance, and if there is a credit transaction, it reduces the balance. So you could set it up using just this simple if function. You could set it up automatically in such a way that if there is a debit entry, automatically it's going to add that debit entry to the previous balance, and if there is a credit entry, it's going to automatically reduce the credit entry from the previous balance, just like that. So that's why I say it's really, really important that you know this stuff. You can do a lot with it. Okay? So if this is understood, I think time is not on our side, just to do justice to some other people, because Mary already requested that we stop before 5, but I've already given her a disclaimer that we may not go beyond 5, but we may have to go up to 5. So I don't want Mary to be happy with me.
5.
It's already 5, yes.
Yeah.
If you people want us to continue, we can continue. I don't mind. But if you want us to stop now, I think we can stop for the benefit of, I don't know whether some people will have class today, but even if you don't have class, I'm sure you'll want to do your revision for your Monday paper and stuff. Mary?
Yes, I think we can stop here for now, Mr. Fofana.
Okay.
We have to do, yeah. Yes, some are going to read for their Monday papers, whilst others will still be studying before they have other papers. And we are doing some assignments as well.
Okay, fine, no problem. Maningol ko kudi mate jonsila, yeah? So na blow to kodi.
I know. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, go ahead.
I want to ask you something. I have no confirmation of it, but I assume that we are not going to do exam on the normal time.
Sorry?
I said I have not confirmed it yet, but I assume that we are not going to do exams on the normal time.
No, maybe Danso because you joined late, but we discussed it at length at the start of the class. So what we said,
I joined it, yeah.
We are going to break from today. We're going to resume classes on the 17th of July, not for Danso, but for those who are joining late. So we're going to resume classes on the 17th of July. That will be after your exams. And we'll ensure that we have a couple of extra classes so we can finish the syllabus. Because my consent will not allow you, will not allow me to give you exams when you have not covered even half of the syllabus. That will not be justice to you.
Yeah, that's true.
The reason is not that because we are slow, but like I said from the start of the lectures, that we are trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's not a requirement for me to teach you any spreadsheet, but I have found it necessary for you. I have found it necessary in your career as an accountant. Okay? So since we have this opportunity to teach online, we have our computers before us, So I thought it's necessary to give you some classes on spreadsheet. So this is why we have to have some extra classes due to the delay of the extra stuff we added in the classes. You know, so this is a situation we're going to resume on the 17th, inshallah, and then we'll try to put more how to call it, more lessons, try to have some extra classes in between so we can complete the syllabus and then we take the exams. Okay? Okay?
Hello, Mr. Governor.
Yes.
I hope you'll talk to the admin about our connectivity issue, because I think after exams, most of our connections would be lost. And then for those of us attending MA3, I think you can make it easy for us so that you can continue.
Oh, okay. You mean your credit, huh?
Yeah, our credit.
Oh, okay. Okay, anyway, yeah, I'll talk to admin and then we'll see. Well, like we said at the start of this, it's not only MA3. There are a couple of other classes that are going to continue after exams. Okay.
Okay, thank you. That will be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. So, any remarks before we end the class here? Sorry. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I think we need to stop. We need to stop here. Mari, you need to mute your mic, please. It's already going out. Okay. Okay. So, anything else? We have to stop here now. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Fufana, we can stop here, and then I am wishing everyone good luck to our upcoming exam. May we have the best, and may there be barakah in anything that we have.
I wish I wish the rest of the students also the same. I pray for you to come out with flying colors in your exams, and we'll continue after the exams, inshallah. Okay.
Okay, inshallah. Take care. Bye.
Okay. Bye.